good shot.
But everybody has a rhythm. You have to almost be, the more you spar different styles and different guys in different training camps, the more you get to see what the human body is capable of. So if I come from a very hard karate stance with deep stances and straight punches, I got to fight that guy. So I should spar someone like that, see how that is. Then I get the timing for what his discipline offers. So how does he set up his punches? How does he set up his kicks? Within that combination, there's times where I can disrupt his rhythm. When you disrupt someone's rhythm, they can't finish the move. So if I'm doing 3 punches and 1 low kick, okay, I go 1, 2, 3, low kick. Now, if I study that and I know that combo because someone does it to me all the time, now 1, 2, 3, and then I come with a straight right at the same time you try to throw your kick, I disrupted your timing, you're off balance because you're not expecting it.
Some things we work on here a lot in the boxing gym is to change your speed. You know, start off at a certain tempo and all of a sudden change that tempo up. You know, it's a way to get punches to land quicker, harder, or again, when it's not expected. Another thing I'll do in order to get is, you know, in MMA especially, but you see this defense that comes here. You know, if I'm throwing right hand, left hand, they're blocking and timing, blocking and timing. If I go right hand, right hand, all of a sudden they're going to block here but getting hit here. You know, so that's a way where you can create the openings.
Well, you throw things off rhythm sometimes. You know, sometimes, like if I was speaking about it earlier, I like you know, when I first start to fight, my first punch when I'm sparring or anything, you know, is going to be, you know, if I throw my left hand, you know, from a southpaw stance, it's always going to be straight. It's the safest punch I can throw. If I throw a jab, you know, I'm going to throw a straight punch and I'm going to hide my tempo, boom, boom, you know, that's my shot, you know. If you block it the first couple times, during the fight, I make adjustments. I go, okay, you know, this guy's fighting me, and he's keeping his stance right here. Every time I fire off my straight left, he's blocking. So now I'll go jab, and I'll start to turn a straight left, but now my elbow comes out. So when I throw my elbow out, I can turn my thumb down. So if you go just to pat my hand down, I come over the top and catch you. And that's how you change combinations. One combination goes boom, boom, boom. Oh, you block that? Fine. Boom, boom. And also, too, the stuttering, I do that a lot of times. Within a combination, you know, I'll go to throw a punch. So if I go jab, roundhouse, very basic Muay Thai, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there, boom, boom, and I fire my roundhouse, and you just check it, right? Well, maybe on a couple times later, I'll go jab, and I'll skip step a little bit. So I'm here, boom, and then I'll throw my roundhouse so that all of a sudden you're used to always going boom. And then by the time now the kick really comes, because it's off rhythm, you put your foot down. So you're used to going parry, shin block. So now you go parry, shin block, no kick comes because I delayed it, and now it's coming as you're putting your foot down. You land, boom, and I slam you across the sciatic nerve as hard as I can. That helps out. And those are just from sparring a lot, making those adjustments. Oh, this is nothing straight out of the box works. You got to sometimes, okay, you know, basic way, I guess you're going to take another step further, is your jab. If every time I throw a jab, you know, I always push off my left foot, boom, and I step down, snap, you know, wow, wow. If a guy's really good at blocking my jab, well, sometimes I'll start doing this, just to push off, and I'll step, and nothing will come, and then I'll throw, you know, just so I can get the guy a little off rhythm. And that's the whole mindset behind it. I don't want you just to be able to, you see me move, you pick up my timing, and you can, without worrying about my strike, be thinking about other shit, and you can just block my jab, slap it down, you know, pop, pop. So now all of a sudden it's boom, you know, boom, boom. So now because that stuttering, off-rhythm movement, I'm causing a simple move, just the jab, become that much more harder to defend against, because now you just can't turn your brain off and sit there and go, okay, I'm going to pat this down, and I'm looking for this. Now it's like, no, I got to, you know, I got to stay awake. That way, what I call it, keeping someone honest. Because now they're being honest. Are you really seeing my jab, or you just got my timing down? So if I feel the guy has my timing, you know, obviously this is the fastest way to do it, but sometimes I'll like, boom, and then throw, you know. This we get our feints and our fakes and our, you know, herky-jerky type movements.
Então, olha só, é treino. Eu procuro filmar todos os meus treinos, de sparring, meus treinos técnicos, e aí, em cima disso, que eu procuro melhorar e corrigir o que a gente pode usar como um bom ataque.
Now I have access of the tapes of my opponent, and if possible I studied the styles. But I'm studying, but I look in the way in the match. You know, it's hard because you know if the guy going to come crazy to beat you, or you going to beat the guy. Sometimes you have strategic, but I have my strategic in the match. I put my plan is to beat the plan of my opponent.
Damn, like that. Make sure, like what I do is, try to hit him with the uppercut.
Yeah.
A lot of people just try to pull, but then they know what you're doing. Hit him with the uppercut and hook like this.
Yeah.
Your hand like this. Then when they try to pull their hand out, even if they pull it that way.
Yeah.
Bang!
Are you showing them something you can do with the hook?
Yeah, with the hook.
You can search for it. You can you know, what things you can look for is you know, hitting people in certain places and seeing their knees kind of quaking a little bit, or them lose their footing. That's usually a sign that you've shook them up a little bit, or you know that they get a little. You may have rocked them, and you know, or you know, shaking their head, or if you see their eyes kind of open up wide, usually that's you know, they're trying to. That means their vision's blurry, and they're trying to readjust their their line of sight. So you know, those are some of the signs. So usually that stuff comes like I was saying from hitting somebody in that sweet spot. That's going to knock them out, just not quite hard enough to do it. So if you see, you know, if you hit somebody in the chin and you see their knees shake a little bit, you know, maybe next time you hit them in the chin, put a little more pop on it, and hopefully it'll get the job done.
Yeah. Sometimes I watch the way to give the knockout. I look and see the guy close the eyes or down the guard, or I mean in the match I look in the way to beat my opponent.
As técnicas que a gente treina todo dia e na luta você monta uma estratégia, mas de acordo com o que ela vai se desenrolando você tem que mudar. Então é o poder de adaptação que cada lutador tem. Eu acho que isso é importante. E eu acho que o nocaute é uma coisa que eu particularmente nunca procurei um nocaute. Eu acho que as coisas aconteceram naturalmente. Eu procuro usar a minha técnica para confundir os meus adversários e fazer com que eles cometam mais erros possíveis, né?
I train hard to input my punch and give it the knockout. It's very hard to input one punch and give it the knockout. Sometimes you in the match you give one, and the guy in another, and another, and another, and after this the guys no have a good condition. It's more easy for you input the punch to give the knockout. It's a way, it's a long way. Sometimes a long way in the first round, the second round, but you input the knockout after 2 or 3 rounds. But sometimes it's possible you put one punch and the guy down, but it's more hard.
Mas eu acho que contra o Carlos Newton foi muito boa, assim, foi um nocaute assim que mais marcou assim na minha carreira toda, porque assim eu tinha estudado aquele nocaute quer dizer, eu tinha estudado aquele golpe para poder aplicar nele em determinado momento da luta e acabou funcionando. E foi legal também.
When you're talking about knocking people out, whether it be body shots, having the brain bounce off the skull, there's always a certain technique or a way to hit that's going to be more effective than other ways. First being, if you're going to attack the body, generally the best way to go for is either a strike to the solar plexus area that will knock the wind out of them, or if you take a liver shot with either the fist or with the kick and you strike to the liver, which is, you know, a single organ that filters all of our systems. So when it's hit, the person will overload in that area, it starts to swell, and the person can't continue just due to excessive pain. And again, that's from a good liver shot, just finding the right angle, getting underneath those ribs and getting through to the organ. The solar plexus, like I mentioned first, nice straight area right where the ribs open up and come through, where your sternum is. There's that spot where if you fell out of a tree or off a swing set, you feel that pain in that area. That's your solar plexus area. Next being the brachial plexus, the most common used is the shin kick, being either a swing kick or a switch kick to the neck, where the most common area of the brachial plexus is. And once that shin hits, because the shin is very sharp, a straight edge and a small striking surface, it's going to make the nervous system shut down quickly, again separating the brain from the rest of the body so the person's still awake. If you take the knockout where the person's head is being jarred, generally a big hooking punch, or even if you watch a lot of mixed martial arts, you see people get picked up either in a high crotch or a double leg takedown, picked up nice and high in the air and slammed. When the body hits and the head continues to roll and slams off of the canvas or the mat, that's when a knockout like that happens, when the brain is being jarred against the skull and then releases and then the person falls asleep. And again, the last one being the nervous system being struck. Your best bet is either a straight punch, and one of the most common if you study striking matches is the back uppercut, because it gets underneath the chin and it strikes those nerve endings that overload and shut down. So straight punches, uppercuts, or hooks are your best target when you're going after that nervous system right along the skull line.
I think just the mechanics and coordination of it, it's something that's totally new to me. I started this process as I transitioned from international and national wrestling to MMA, and I've never done any boxing, never done any kickboxing or any kind of striking competitive sports. I've always been a wrestler. So I think there's finding some of the similarities in mechanics that fit from wrestling, but also I think learning and keeping an open mind and being willing to drill and train and hit a lot of mitts and learn combinations and coordinate, again, throwing a proper punch from your feet, your toes on the mat, all the way up through your hips to the end of those punches, moving and all that muscle coordination and creating that muscle memory so that you can do that in real time against a resisting, reacting opponent. That's just something that's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to refine and get better and better and better at. So I didn't have to think about it anymore. So again, it just responded.
You need to know what's the punch. So the guy give you the punch, or the guy give you the kicks, or the guy give you the takedown. You need to look in where you're going. Since you're going to defense the takedown for to come back with the punch, or you're going to kick, or you need to know what way you're going for the opponent. But for this, you need to have all techniques.
I told myself when I got into the fight I wanted to be a hard puncher. I wanted to punch hard. I wanted to knock people out. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a knockout puncher, and I hit the heavy bag. And the heavy's big and fine, and I hit it hard, and I hit it for rounds, and blasted it. You know, I sat down on my punches and whacked it. I think that built me up to where I can punch hard. You know, if you do anything repetitive enough, it's gonna pay off. Your body's gonna adapt to it and change physically. You know, whatever it is, if you do it enough, you're gonna get better at it. You know.
Great way to knock somebody out is to be able to knock them out so that they can still see you. They're still aware, but their body won't allow them to stand. They won't allow them to keep their legs straight and continue to fight. The way we do that is a liver shot. Setting up that liver shot, though, is very important, because when you attack the body and the liver is on this side of me, you're exposing your head to be struck and to be knocked out yourself, just by me turning my left hook over to the back of the ear, okay, just behind the ear, soft point, it's going to knock somebody out quick. So it's very